Alright, today we're going to be talking about the unit circle. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks so that you can memorize it easily so that it makes sense to you. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions by leaving a comment down below. And if you like this video, then please like and subscribe to see more like it in the future. So we're going to go through three things. We want to go through radians, degrees, and coordinates. And I'm going to show you guys how to get these down. So right now, instead of focusing on the whole unit circle, we're just going to focus on the first quadrant. So that's something I should also tell you about. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So we kind of count everything going counterclockwise. Okay, so we're going to be working just in quadrant 1 for now. And that's going to make it easier for us to get the other three later. So we've got three lines here. Our first radian measure is going to be in pi sixths. Okay? And this one is going to be 2 pi sixths, or pi thirds. And this here is going to be pi fourths. Okay? I'm going to show you some patterns to see why this is going to make sense for the whole circle and how to memorize it more easily. We can imagine this line as 0 because there is no angle measure, so this is 0 radians. Okay? Now, we can either count this as 3 pi sixths, going 1, 2, and 3, or as 2 pi fourths, going 1 and 2. Either way, it's going to calculate to pi halves. Okay? So this is all we need for our radians. So let's go through the rest of the unit circle and quickly calculate the radians. For the second quadrant, we're simply going to add 1 more pi sixths. One way you can think about this is by starting here and going 1 pi sixth, 2 pi sixths, 3 pi sixths, and 4 pi sixths. Well, 4 pi sixths is the same as saying 2 pi thirds. So this is 2 pi thirds. Now coming down here is another sixth, which is going to be 5 pi sixths. Okay? Coming into the third, and then for the pi fourths, so we're going 0, pi fourths, 2 pi fourths, and 3 pi fourths. All right, and now I'll quickly draw out the third and fourth quadrants. Okay, now this is going to be pi, and you can see this either by going 1 pi sixths, 2 pi sixths, 3 pi sixths, 4 pi sixths, 5 pi sixths, 6 pi sixths, it's kind of hard to say, or 1 pi fourth, 2 pi fourths, 3 pi fourths, 4 pi fourths. It's going to get you the same result. It's going to get you pi. Okay? Now the next one, if this is 5 pi sixths and this is 6 pi sixths, this is going to be 7 pi sixths. And this is going to be 8 pi sixths or 4 pi thirds. Okay? And then for our fourths, this is 3 pi fourths, 4 pi fourths, 5 pi fourths. And we can say this is 6 pi fourths, or we can say 9 pi thirds. So if we go 6 pi fourths, that's going to turn into 3 pi halves. Okay? Now, if this was 5 pi 4, well, actually, let's go back to the thirds. So we have 6 pi sixths, 7, 8, 9. So this is going to be our 10 pi sixths, or 5 pi thirds. And this is going to be 11 pi sixths. Sorry, that's a hard word to say. Sixths. Okay, and then if we have our 5 pi fourths, and we have 6 pi fourths, then this is going to be 7 pi fourths. Okay, these are all of the radians. So I hope you picked up on the little pattern. There's a pattern with the pi sixths and a pattern with the pi fourths. And I forgot, one more thing we should add is that this is also 2 pi. So it's 0 if we start here, but if we go all the way around, that angle, 360 degrees, that is going to be 2 pi. Okay, so let me erase that and redraw the entire center real quick. Okay, sorry, just ignore the middle. Okay, so the two patterns were the pi sixths and the pi fourths. So with pi sixths, we could go 1 sixth, 2 sixths, 3 sixths, 4 sixths, 5 sixths, 6 sixths, 7 sixths, and so on. With the pi fourths, we can go 1 fourth, 2 fourths, 3 fourths, 4 fourths, 5 fourths, 6 fourths, 7 fourths, and 8 fourths. Okay? That's radians. Let's talk about degrees. This right here is 0 degrees. Pi sixths is 30 degrees. Pi fourths is 45 degrees. And pi thirds is 60 degrees. Okay, so now we can find, we have the same sort of pattern here. For the pi sixths, we're going to add 30 degrees every time, and for the pi fourths, we're going to add 45 degrees every time. So this 1 sixth is 30, plus 30 gets us to 60, plus 30 gets us to 90 degrees. Let me make sure we can see that. Let's move this up a little. Okay. So we've got 90 degrees. 90 plus 30, that's going to give us 120. Plus 30 is going to give us 150. Let's put that closer to here. Plus 30 is 180 degrees. Plus 30 is 210 degrees. Plus 30 is 240 degrees. Plus 30 is 270 degrees. Plus 30 is 300 degrees. Plus 30 is 330 degrees. Plus 30 is 360. Okay, so that's all of the ones with a pi sixth. So now we can also do the pi fourths. We have 45 degrees, plus 45 is 90, plus 45, let's see, that would be 135, right? 35, did I do that right? Yes. Plus 45 is going to get us to 180. Plus 45 is going to get us to 225. Plus 45 is going to get us to 270. Plus 45 is going to get us to 315. Okay, so there's the pattern there. And you can also see all of these between the 30 degrees and the 45 degrees, these angles, you're simply adding 15 more degrees. So in theory, you could start at 0 and add 15 degrees to each one, right? Because 30 to 45 is 15, to 60, 15, and then, okay, just kidding. That actually doesn't work because to 90, that is not 15. So it's 15 between these ones and then 30 between these ones. So just try to remember the pattern that the pi sixths are 30s, and the pi-fourths are 45s. All right, so we've done radians, and we've done degrees. We're almost done. Okay, let's do coordinates. This, let's see how we can see this. This is 0, 0. Okay, so if we're imagining that this is a graph, let's put a point here, 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 and here. So this is a circle, right? And our circle has a radius. That radius is 1, meaning from the center to any point on the circle is 1. Okay, so sorry, this is not 0, 0. I apologize for that. This is 1, 0, because our x-coordinate is 1 over and 0 up. If we look at this one, we're going 0 over and 1 up. I'm going to write that right here. For pi, we have negative 1, 0. Right? And then down here, we have 0, negative 1. Okay, so those are the 4 main coordinates. These ones are a little trickier, but I'm going to show you a trick that makes it super easy to remember. Okay, let's focus on pi-thirds, pi-fourths, and pi-sixths. I want you to start writing out the parentheses like this for the coordinates, then put a fraction on each one with the denominator of 2. Okay, all of them get 2s. Now I want you to start up here, and I want you to go 1, 2, 3, and then count backwards. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now take the square root of the top, the numerator of all of them. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 2 is root 2. Square root of 3, root 3. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 2 is root 2. And the square root of 3 is root 3. Okay? So that was probably a lot of information, but let me just show you that again. So you draw 2's in the denominator of every coordinate. And then you go 1, 2, 3 in the x's, and then 1, 2, 3 in the y's, and then you take the square root of all of the numerators. That's how you get the coordinates in the first quadrant. Now to get the coordinates in the other quadrants, it's really easy because all we have to do is transform these points. For example, this pi-sixths, this corresponds to the 5 pi-sixths over here. So if we have root 3 over 2 and 1/2, all we have to do is negate the x-coordinate. So for 5 pi-6, what we're going to have is negative root 3 over 2 and a positive 1/2, right? Because we're just doing a negative on the x-coordinate, okay? Same thing for this. We have root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. We need to negate the x-coordinate. So we have negative root 2 over 2, positive root 2 over 2. And then up here we have positive 1/2 and positive root 3 over 2. So if we just negate that, then we have negative 1/2 positive root 3 over 2. We have the second quadrant done. Okay, let's go to the fourth quadrant here. Now we just need to negate the y's. Okay, so the pi-6 here corresponds to the the 11 pi-6 here corresponds to the pi-6 here. So we just negate the y-coordinate. Okay, so right here we're going to have positive root 3 over 2, negative 1/2. Down here we're going to have a positive root 2 over 2 and a negative root 2 over 2 in the y. And down here, we're going to have a positive 1/2 and a negative root 3 over 2. Okay, we're done with the fourth quadrant. And now for the third quadrant, we negate everything, right? Because we have negative x's and negative y's. So we can start with this second quadrant as a reference. Okay, for the 7 pi 6, that corresponds to 5 pi 6 here. So that's going to be a negative root 3 over 2 and a negative 1/2. Then this, we're going to have a negative root 2 over 2, negative root 2 over 2. And then down here, we're going to have negative 1/2, negative root 3 over 2. So negative 1/2, 3 over 2. Okay? We've just finished the coordinates for everything. So let me erase this part real quick, just so that you can see the circle by itself. Okay, so it's a lot. But using the tricks that I showed you, you can memorize all this. Now, I don't know that it's necessarily necessary or recommended to memorize the degrees. That you may need that sometimes, but it's fairly easy to calculate. Okay, and one more thing. If you had some confusion about how I was corresponding different points to each other, let me draw something out for you. Now, if this doesn't help, ignore it and it'll be fine, but check this out. We can draw a box right here. This box, this rectangle, connects all of these coordinates. All of these ones that are either a positive or negative root 3 over 2, 1/2. See? Positive root 3 over 2, 1/2. Positive root 3 over 2, negative 1/2, and so on. Okay, and then we can draw a square connecting these points. Okay? So this square connects all of the pi fourths. And then we can draw another rectangle to connect all of the starting from pi thirds and going on. Okay? I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, please give this video a like, and let me know in the comments what kinds of things you'd like me to teach on next. I'll talk to you in the next one.